The bounty system is the biggest mistake in One Piece. Some think it's about threat level, some believe it's about power. But one thing we know for sure is that pirates and marines have valued each other all wrong. Today, we will be fixing all the bounty numbers, whether it be too high or too low. And at the end of the video, you guys will let us know which bounties you agree or disagree with. Yo, I'm here with Anime Sundays.
What's good, y'all?
All right, so we have a list here made by Just Might on Twitter. Make sure you give them a follow. Going through all of these One Piece bounties that he corrected. If you see in the red, that is the official bounty, and then in the green, that is the value that he thinks is the better fit. Starting off, we have Sanji sitting originally at a little bit over 1 billion berries, but Just Might change him to 900 mil. He dropped him 100 mil.
I think that's a little OD. I feel like 1 billion is the minimum you should have for Sanji. It's definitely worth it. Even when you see like the intro to 1 billion bounty character, it's the first Katakuri. To say that Sanji can't hang with a Katakuri, come on now.
Looking at what Sanji was doing towards the end of Wano, not only defeating a queen, but unlocking his Germa genes. He's literally tanking attacks from S-Shark. He's definitely over 1 billion berries. I think where they have him right now is perfectly correct. Monkey D. Luffy, originally at 3 billion berries, Just Might change him to 4.5 billion berries. That's sitting over Shanks. Listen, I think he was trying to separate Luffy from the Luffy, Law, and Kid trio. I understand that, but putting him over a Shanks level bounty is kind of crazy for me.
It's definitely way too high. 3 billion, I feel like it's just right on the money. You could have maybe gave him a little sauce with like 3.5, but 4.5 is, yeah, just ridiculous.
I think around maybe 3.5 to 3.75, I think is perfect for Luffy, especially with having the Sun God Nika fruit boxing with Kizaru. His devil fruit literally is making the Gorosei step outside.
Yeah.
Trafalgar D. Water Law, originally sitting at 3 billion berries, Just Might change him down to 2.5 billion.
If you are going to have Luffy at 3, I think it's okay to have Law at 2.5 and then Kid really lower than that, to be honest with you. I'm not too mad at it being at 2.5, especially because Law's crew is so like not up to par.
I'm torn because Law is still a very, very powerful threat considering that he was silencing Big Mom, and I think his devil fruit is that formidable. After he awakened it, I think Law is definitely in that 3 billion category. I understand that he does not have an amazing crew, but Law by himself is still a powerhouse. I mean, you got to remember, the Blackbeard pirates jumped pretty much Law in a bag of chips, and he still was putting in some work. He got his hockey up. He was able to revert Daku's devil fruit. And when we're talking about a threat level to the Marines, to the world government, you still have to keep your eye out for the hard pirates. I'll probably keep it at 3 billion.
You think about a character like Blackbeard, his bounty being above Law's, it's because of all the danger he possesses as an entirety. When you look at Law's progress, he just only is looked at as like a chip in taking down the Big Mom and Kaido alliance, whereas like Luffy was the centerfold, you know what I mean? I'm not mad at them lowering it because I think all 3 of their bounties should be different. I think Luffy should be the highest, Law should be the second highest, and Kid should be the third highest. I could see like a 2.8 or 2.7.
Well, me, because I raised Luffy's bounty, I think Law should stay at 3. Captain, Eustace, Kid.
1 billion. No, I was kidding.
What? Just Might drop them down to 2.5 billion. I agree.
You think Kid could be Katakuri?
Yes.
Okay.
What? No. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Listen, I'm not a Kid stan by any means. But let's be serious. Captain Kid still has Conqueror's Hockey.
I agree.
And he awakened his devil fruit. He's tough. He just ran into the wrong person.
It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that.
It's a lot of that. I'm cool with 2.5.
That's what I'm cool with too. Like, I'm cool with Luffy's being 3, Law's being like a 2.7, maybe 2.75, and then Kid's being 2.5.
Jimbe, originally sitting at 1.1 billion berries, Just Might drop them down to 890 million berries.
Yeah, it's crazy out here in the streets. It's crazy out here in the streets.
This I find very, very disrespectful. He's a former warlord, for crying out loud. Now he's the helmsman of the Straw Hat crew. Listen, a lot of people forgot about this moment. Luffy does not get to Wano if Jimbe does not say, you know what, I'll stay back and try to hold off the Big Mom pirates and let you guys go on ahead. That is over 1 billion berries to me when you're talking about just strength and pure threat level. Because again, bounties aren't just straight power, but you can talk about if they are powerful, then obviously the Marines are going to start looking at them and saying, you know what, we may have to jump the numbers up a little bit. So I think Jimbe is well deserving of a 1.1 billion berry bounty.
I agree. The fact that he just dropped it lower than Sanji's too is kind of like, well, here we go with that conversation again. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I didn't even notice. Cats really still think that Jimbe is like so much weaker than Sanji when it's really like undecided for real if you want to be 100 with you. But bounties are an accumulation of what you've done in the pirate world. Jimbe has been around freeing slaves since Fisher Tiger. Like, this is not a joke. Well, he became a warlord, so that stopped his bounty growth. But if he kept being a pirate, he would have probably already been past the 500 mils, the 700 mil. Like, he'd already been up there in the length. Dropping it lower than Sanji is also disrespectful. I could have said if you said it was like the same, but 890 is ridiculous.
So you would keep it at 1.1 billion too, right?
I would keep it at 1.1. I don't think it needs to drop, really, honestly.
Usopp, originally sitting at 500 million berries, just might drop them down to 200 mil.
Nah, this is wild. I mean, I'm not mad at it though.
Because we have to remember, bounties aren't just power. The way the world views Usopp right now, they think of God Usopp. For me, I still think he's at 200 mil. He has not been doing anything really since Dressrosa. He did not really put in any crazy work in Wano for me. I think that we need to see Usopp show up, hopefully in Elbaf.
Don Flamingo was so enraged that he gave him this 500 million bounty at first. 200 I'm not mad at. Is his strength stronger than a 200 million bounty? I feel like at the minimum, you know, he should be a little bit higher, maybe like 250. We also have to look at it though. This is post Wano, so it should go up from 200. So I think a 250 or a 3 is not crazy.
But what did he do in Wano, Jared?
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, we know he didn't do anything, but the rest of the world doesn't necessarily know that.
I guess I can agree with that.
I think 250 is not crazy. I feel like a Luffy, I feel like a Usopp post-time skip, strength-wise, can at least hang with some bounty cats that are 250.
Originally, Roronoa Zoro's bounty was sitting at around 1.1 billion berries, but now you have Might coming in saying, well, 2 billion is more fitting. I think this is too high.
If we were to say that like a kid is a 2.5, Zoro being 2 is not crazy. When you're breaking the 2 billion, I feel like you may still have to have a little bit more credentials under your belt. But also, we know the credentials because he did defeat King and he was putting in mad work against Kaido.
You're saying 2 billion for Zoro is not that bad. Right. Then we got to go right back up to Sanji because there's no way Zoro should be sitting a full billion over Sanji.
I was going to subside and say 2 billion is just a little too high.
It's too high.
I was going to say that same thing because of Jimbe, actually. I would do like 1.5 or something.
Okay, and that's actually the number I was gonna go to because I do agree that Zoro should be higher, but 2 billion is a little bit too high for me. If he's able to defeat Lucci in Egghead, I think that should definitely raise his bounty to around 2 billion because Lucci is literally one of the leaders of Cypher Pole. Sabo, originally sitting at 600 mil, might put him at 3 billion.
I like 70-30 agree.
I've caught a lot of heat in recent weeks on my takes on Sabo, but I'm here to let y'all know that I'm here to double down. I think that Sabo is one of the strongest characters in One Piece. I think that he being Luffy's brother, you have to keep an eye out for Sabo. Seeing that he's being called the Flame Emperor, seeing that he even has more notoriety than Monkey D. Dragon, who happens to be the leader of the Revolutionary Army, who, oh, by the way, was called the world's most wanted man. Look at what Sabo was doing. Boxing against 2 admirals, right? They had to hold back a little bit, but he still was in the fight. Then you're talking about he's in the room with the Gorosei. Eam is there. They even had to bring out the Mother Flame and blow up the Lucia Kingdom because Sabo's in the vicinity and things are going crazy. He saved Kuma, and now this very same Kuma is causing a problem for Saint Saturn and Egghead. For people out there that still want to sleep, stay asleep, but I'm awake. I'm putting Sabo at 3.5 billion. I think that's a more fitting bounty for him. I know some people out there may say, whoa, that's up there with Mihawk. Listen, bounty is not just power, it is also threat level. And right now, Sabo is a high level threat. Even a Kainu has Sabo on his radar. You could check it in the manga if you think I'm lying. Put Sabo at 3.5 billion. That's where I have him at.
No, I'm hearing you. I just still don't agree with him being higher than Luffy, but only because I agree with everything you said. Like, I do think a lot of the notoriety, the movement that he's making with Dragon, it would make more sense if it was technically higher, but I also feel like that ever since he became the Flame Emperor, it's a little harder to give him a new bounty. It's like there's a reason they don't have him at his bounty higher higher than what it is right now. You know what I'm trying to say? The government is still holding off with Sabo being more of a problem than Dragon. The comparison that the government is giving between like Dragon and Sabo, to them, they still have this large gap kind of in their mind. So I'm actually not mad at it being at like 3 billion exactly.
I put Sabo at 3.5 because I have also raised Luffy's bounty as well.
Okay, so if you're going off Luffy's raise,
I wouldn't say Sabo's bounty should be over Luffy's, but I think that Sabo is deserving of that higher bounty. He's a serious threat out there. Dracula Mihawk, originally sitting at 3.59 billion berries, might raise them to 4 billion berries.
Shoulder shrug.
I think Mihawk is right where he belongs at 3.59 billion berries.
Lower it a little bit.
You would lower it?
I mean, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, bro. You should be getting the same treatment as Jimbe right now. You are a warlord for X amount of time.
Hold on, Jared.
Hold on. I'm not saying like it should be 1 billion. I'm just saying they didn't raise Jimbe's that crazy until he said, okay, now I have all this going on. That's such a big problem. The Cross Guild, I get it. It's a direct attack.
They're putting bounties on the Marines' heads.
It's a direct attack, but they're still more worried about the Straw Hats, bro.
But you gotta understand, Mihawk was called the Marine Hunter back in his heyday. He used to go around hunting Marines, so they already know how formidable he is. They have knowledge of it. So that's why I think that he still needs to have a high bounty. I just don't see the reason for them to raise it because Mihawk is very nonchalant. Now, if it's Crocodile, we can have a conversation.
I agree that it should stay the same, honestly. I don't think they should lower it for real. 4 billion though? No, I don't think it should be 4 billion.
Jack, sitting originally at 1 billion berries, might change them down to 600 mil. I'm gonna say I agree with this.
I'd say like 7. Jack, here's the thing, Jack.
Give him 5.
Jack, I would have felt more. Jack got a little bit more sauce for me when he was kind of like still boxing up the Minks, even though they're in full moon. It's kind of like, really, y'all struggling against Jack right now? Like y'all having this big revenge vendetta to defeat Jack, and you're Duke Dogstorm, Cat Viper, you're double teaming Jack right now.
But then Ashura Doji was boxing with him. That's
what I'm saying. Like I still feel like Jack showed a little bit why he is one of Kaido's commanders. I think because also you are one of Kaido's main dogs and you've done things in the name of Kaido, I feel like 7's not crazy.
We'll give him 7. I'll agree with that. Captain Buggy, originally sitting at 3.189 billion berries, might drop them down to 1.5 billion.
If you're leader of the Cross Guild, like I feel like your bounty has to be at least 3.
And that's where I was gonna go. I know Buggy is a meme in the One Piece community, but his notoriety is still very, very formidable. This is why Crocodile and Mihawk pulled up on him in the first place, because not only did Buggy owe Crocodile money, but he has resources. He has certain things that could be advantageous for Crocodile and Mihawk to not only just have a place to relax at, but also have the ability to stake their claim in the new world. I think he definitely should have a bounty of that level. Yeah. The power doesn't reflect it as far as we know, but the threat level, absolutely.
Yeah. Threat level, like you're leader of the Cross Guild, you're a Yonko. It's like the minimum your bounty could be is like 3.
Queen the Plague, sitting originally at 1.32 billion berries, might drop them down to 930 million. I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too.
He's one of the greatest scientists in the One Piece world. It was proven during his fight with Sanji. He was literally using attacks purposely to try to counter what Judge was cooking up. But we know Judge was a member of Mads as well. That's in the conversation with Vegapunk and everybody. So Jack is definitely a dangerous threat to the Marines and the world government, being such a powerful scientist. Just because he lost to Sanji does not mean Queen is not a threat. I think I have to put him at 1.3 billion.
I'm not like totally against the idea of all of Kaido's commanders stocks going down a little bit, but I do think it should definitely be over 1.1, 1.2 at the lowest. I feel like all the commanders and all the Yonko crew should still kind of be relative, except for maybe Shanks' crew, because they're getting their sauce from their captain.
Well, Queen had notoriety as a scientist though. Like I think he had, outside of the Beast Pirates, he was known as, you know, a formidable scientist. I think that a lot of people are of the mindset where they want to downplay King and Queen based on what Admiral Aramaki did.
Well, I agree with you with the Aramaki not being a little testament of strength, but I just feel like Sanji still didn't struggle as much with Queen as like Zoro did with King. The world government doesn't really care about how smart you are. They care about how much you know about their business. Unless you're as smart as Vegapunk to where you can build things that are detrimental to the way they run stuff, then they're like, okay, cool, you're a great scientist, we may, you know, keep our eye on you, you know, just in case, but you don't know the Secret of Ohara. I'm not mad. That's what I would do. 1.2. That was me.
Tony Chopper, originally sitting at a measly 1K berries. That's crazy. Now he's sitting at 360 mil. I agree.
Honestly, I was gonna say 4. I think Chopper is formidable enough in combat and especially in medical profession. I think it should definitely be higher than Usopp's. And if I think Usopp should be at like 250,
360 or even 4, I'll go with 4. His fight with Queen, that's what we need to see from Chopper. Nico Robin, originally sitting at 930 million berries, might change Nico Robin to 1 billion.
It needs to be high, really.
And that's where I was going. But how high? How high, Jared?
I mean, I don't think it should be breaking 2, but if you were to say that Zoro was a 1.5, it's not crazy to put Robin at a 1.5, 1.4. Off the fear strength if you are the last survivor of Ohara.
I completely agree. I'll take that number, 1.5, 1.4.
The recurring theme as of late is get Nico Robin.
Not to mention that she also got stronger as well. King, sitting originally at 1.39 billion berries, might drop King down to 1 billion.
It's too low.
It's too low. Because I kept Queen at around 1.32 billion, I think that King should probably be even a little bit higher. I would probably have King at like 1.5 billion. That's personally where I would have King.
If I had like a Zoro a little under 2, then yeah, I could agree with King being like a 1.5. I mean, he really was like one of the top tier cats on the field besides Kaido.
The only thing that makes that tough is the next one. Katakuri, to finish out the chart, sitting at originally 1 billion berries, just a little bit over, and might upgrade him to 1.4 billion. For Katakuri, I'll probably give Katakuri 1.75.
Oh, wow.
Future Sight is obviously there. I think when you're looking at the way Katakuri fights versus the way King fights, I think Katakuri is a much smarter fighter. King was really locking in on his Lunarian abilities, and once Zoro was able to read that, the fight was pretty much done, versus Katakuri was throwing so many different stops at Luffy. I mean, there's a bunch of people out there that believe Luffy should have lost that fight. That's how powerful Katakuri is.
I'm hearing you. I agree in a lot of aspects, but I do struggle with putting it above King because I do think that King is still a little bit more powerful, man. I think the stops we've seen bro pulling out, you could put them neck and neck, but honestly, I think Zoro is stronger than Katakuri.
Wait, you're saying this?
Yeah, I
never thought I would have seen this day.
I said this though. If he gets you with one of his moves, really almost anybody can go down. Really top tier of the verse durability, you can get taken out by Zoro if you're caught slipping. Luffy tanked so many attacks of Katakuri, and yes, you can always credit that to Luffy, but at some point you have to be like, all right, would I think Zoro can handle just as many? Yes. Do I think that Katakuri can handle just as many as Zoro's attack? I don't know.
But let's be serious though. As far as we know, Zoro does not have future sight observation hockey. I don't think we saw King bust that out at all. So it would really have to come down to Zoro trying to counter future sight, which Katakuri is a master of. I'm not saying he's the best future sight observation hockey user out there. I think that would be Shanks currently. But I still believe that when you're looking at that technique alone, it would definitely be problematic for Zoro, especially the fact that, you know, Katakuri, I believe he was awakened as well. I mean, Katakuri is serious
and I agree with all the things you said too, but also at the end of the day, it's almost like Luffy beat Katakuri because his future sight got a little better, but also just because he hit him with some serious conquerors. So I kind of feel like, is it impossible for Zoro to hit Katakuri? I don't think so, bro.
I do think Zoro would definitely be able to land hits on Katakuri. What I'm saying is having the future sight, because you brought up Zoro landing an attack on even Kaido, right? But even that attack, that was Zoro's strongest attack, and Kaido didn't even drop down to his knees, right? And Kaido is somebody that also has access to future sight. So I think that even just having future sight would give you a little bit of an advantage over Zoro versus King. King didn't really have that. King was really just going off his Lunarian abilities. Also, I think that it may be because of Yamato's existence. When I think of somebody like Yamato, I think the hierarchy list of power, it changes. It goes from Kaido to then a Yamato, and then I see King. I don't see it the other way around. Even though I believe King is powerful, it's not crazy to think that, you know, Big Mom's real right hand is stronger than, you know, Kaido's quote unquote right hand. If Yamato was really saying, you know what, Dad, let's lock in together, I mean, that would be crazy.
So I would probably have it at 1.4 if I have Kings at 1.5.
I see what you're saying. I'm probably gonna stick with 1.75. But listen, you guys let us know down in the comment section below which bounties you would change or keep the same. Make sure you guys show love to Just Might on Twitter and also Anime Sundays. With that, see you guys next time. Peace.